Hello, everybody. I hope everyone is home and safe. And thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. And during this webinar slash training, we will be working together with Google Data Studio to create some customized and beautiful reports that you can use to analyze the traffic of your website. And also, it's a great tool to share reports and customize dashboards with management, with your teammates, or with your partners. Okay, so I created a very brief, quick agenda that I want to go to with you. So I'm just gonna do a very brief and short intro about Indie Solutions and myself. And then I'm gonna show you like the final report we'll be creating, but I'm just gonna show you how it looks and what we're gonna be producing and working on together. After that, I'm just gonna do a very basic and quick overview of Google Analytics, and then we're gonna start working on the Data Studio and work on the report together. And of course, if you have any questions at the end, please let me know, or as we go, please send me any questions you have on the chat screen, and I will try to do the demo and answer any questions you have. All right, my name is Wasim Sadallah, and I am the CIO of Indie Solutions, which is a tech company founded in February 2016, so we just turned 4 few weeks ago. We work exclusively with nonprofits, and that was the business decision me and my partner decided on because for two reasons. One, I've been working with nonprofit myself since 2009, so that's over 11 years, and I've been doing technology, like work as project manager, web developer, web admin, all kind of, and then IT director for one organization. And yeah, so I love technology and I love nonprofit, and my partner is the same. So we started Indie Tech Solutions because we believe there is a need, and most nonprofit technologies do not get the IT support or technology help they need. So that's what Indie Tech Solutions is all about. My email is osadallah@indietechsolutions.com. I will email it back to you, or I'll send it to you at the end of this session. But also, I believe we are recording this, so we will have it on YouTube or Vimeo, one of the channels, and then you'll have my contact info there if you have any questions that I cannot answer during this call. And if you want to check our website, it's indietechsolutions.com for all of the services we offer. Okay, the demo. So this is the final sample of a final report that we're gonna work on together. And let me see it. This is just a screenshot. I'm just gonna switch to a real one that we're gonna create together, how it looks, and we'll start from there. Okay. This is a kind of like a template, a custom template that we created from scratch for some of our clients. And basically, it shows the most important metrics that you want to share with, with someone or like for yourself. So number one is like the total number of visitors that you want to see for a period of time. So for instance, for this very specific website, I think we start from December 1st until February, so for like 3 months, December, January. Yeah, it's like 2 months, I guess. And then some other metrics, like we want to know what's the source of the traffic, so where they are coming from. It's like referral directs, and we go through all of this like in detail. This is just like a pie chart of the same thing, just like more an illustration of the data. And then social sources, like where from social media they are coming from. It's like, so for instance, for this specific client, there's Facebook, Reddit, LinkedIn. Most of their social media sources are from Facebook. Then for this very specific client, they want to know like which city they're coming from. And also this is more and more because of like all of like the mobile devices now. more people are joining or accessing your website through a mobile device. So it's great to have an idea how people are joining. And then the top pages. So these data right here, kind of like standard, like everyone wants to know at a glance. And to do that with Google Analytics, it's kind of like not, first of all, not beautiful and tricky, and you can't aggregate all of them at once. So that's where the Air Studio is. So anyway, so this is the final product we're going to work on together from scratch. And all of the data here is pulled from Google Analytics. So I'm going to switch right now back to Google Analytics as is, because that's our source of like data source that we're going to pull all of our data from. This is exactly for the same client. Just gonna change one thing before I go through this. Let me see the audience. Okay. And as I said, I'm gonna do very quick overview of Google Analytics. I'm not gonna go through each and everything, but I'm just gonna kind of like quick overview of the sections that I believe even without their studio you can go like and check. So when you log in or you access your Google Analytics for your website, whatever website you're managing. So the first step, I think there is a dashboard first. It's like a custom dashboard that they create. It gives, you can customize it, but it's kind of not exactly like this. So most of the time, then the real time tab, I don't think it's very useful unless like you have like, I don't know, a very busy website or like people are like, you want to check real time who's on your website, but otherwise it's not really something I check. The rest I do check regularly. So audience is like just give you an idea, an overview of like who's coming to your website. And if you ever work on Google Analytics, there is always a section where you set the date range. Where do you want to, what's the data you want to pull, like the time period. By default, I believe it's always 1 week, but you can change it. So if you remember, let's come back here. So we have from December 1st till end of January, I think February 1st or something. So we're going to do exactly the same thing so we can match the data we have in Google Analytics and on that dashboard. Let's go back here. Let's do December 1st until February, or like let's do January 20th. Apply. Okay. Once we apply this here, like for this period, and I picked this one because I work with this client and I know they were running some campaigns, so they got like busy like hits during this period, and it's good for the demo. So for this period, if we're like under audience, we have users 1737, and it should match unless we did a different date here. We did until February 1st. Okay, so February 1st is included. Let's add that very quickly. Or we can, the other ones, do February 1st, supply. No, from December 1st till February 1st. Thank you so much. Here we go. So we have total number of users, 1730. It's exactly the same thing. The graph looks more or less the same. The traffic sources, that will be under acquisition. But as you can see, like as I said, all of the data in Google Data Studio is pulled from Google Analytics, and I want to like match it, so we are like having exact same data set we're working on. But we're just gonna forget about Google Data Studio for a second, and we're just gonna focus on Google Analytics. So as I said, one of the things I always check, like the overview, just to have an idea, because this is more or less like the entry point to learn about how many users came to your website. And of course you can do like some daily, hourly, or month, and the date range here. So good. You see like new visitors, returning visitors. It's always good to have both actually. Some sessions, some other stuff. Then you can see, you can filter by city, like people like come in that period of time, like most, for instance, for this very specific website, like from LA to New York. Not set. This is a technical term. It's kind of like technical term used by Google Analytics for anything that cannot pull the info for. So for 822 users, Google Analytics could not get the city for that user, so they just put like not set. This is something you get familiar with because not only in the city but in a lot of other metrics, if they can't put this, they will put not set. So I go through the overview of the users, mobile, which is just the devices to see like who's yeah, mostly from desktop, mobile, stuff like that. Acquisition, this is another important one. The overview gives you like how people are coming to your website. So referral is if anyone coming from a different website, let's say there is an article about one of your pages on CNN or whatever other website is. So that will be marked as a referral. So if I click on referral here very quickly, maybe it's gonna give us some list of some stuff, but it's not that important. Let's go back to overview. Direct, basically just like a direct, someone typed in the name of the website. Other, anything else that is not one of these. The organic search is through Google. Could be not only Google. This one lists more than Google. I think Google, Bing, and all of the other stuff. And the other one, social, like from social media, and email, if it's like on your email, like a distribution list or something. Behavior, this is another good, like I check regularly. The behavior is like what people are looking at when they are on your website. So all of kind of like the pages, some other stuff, you go to site content, all of the pages, we can see the pages they are checking. And this is important because you want to know like how people, which pages they are accessing on your website. So you can see if like you're running a campaign or something, you want to learn if your page is doing well. Another Google Analytics things, like every time you see the backslash, that's the home page. Okay, conversion, that's another, that's more or less like an intermediate feature we're not going to talk about today. But the idea is when you have, let's say, a contact as form, and you want to know how people, like when they come, if they fill in that contact form or join your list or make a donation. So you make some goals for the conversion and see, you know, how many of them got converted to a supporter or a member or stuff like that. Okay. So now the challenge with Google Analytics, and I mentioned this earlier, is let's say I want to have, just going to put this very quickly. Let's say I want to have the total number of visitors in a graph like this, and I want to have the city, like which city they came from in one report. So I can always go like, so for users and their audience overview, I see here all of the users, but like in a lot of details. That's great. If I want to export this report, there's like an export feature right here, or I will talk about share for later. But when you export, you know, to give you this options like PDF, Google Sheet, Excel, or like CSV. It's gonna do PDF just so we can see it very quickly. Takes a second. Okay, let's see if I can open this. Download. Let me see if I can open the one I don't see it. Oh, there we go. It's asking where I want to do it. Let's move it to the desktop. Save. Let's open. Okay, so more or less, yeah, this is good, but it's just more or less like a screenshot of the page you're on. So yes, you can share this as a PDF with anyone, and you know you have a report that you can share. But back to the point of adding a new metrics, it gets tricky. We can add it here, but you cannot add more than two, and it's tricky, confusing, and the report has way more data than we need. So that's where Google Data Studio, when I discovered it, I was like, oh, great, this is, I can generate any reports I want the way I want it and customize it and brand it and all of that kind of cool stuff with a few clicks. Okay, let's close this for now, and then we're gonna go back to Google Studio, and let's create a new one from scratch that will be exactly like this. 1 second, if I can get my, okay. Okay, Google Data Studio is datastudio.google.com, so most of Google products actually. And I forgot to mention this at the beginning of this webinar. Both Google Analytics and Data Studio are free. So as long as you have a Google account could be like a Gmail, just like a free basic Gmail account, like your name at gmail.com, or just like that's what I'm using right now with my personal, or with what do you call it, the Google Suite. So with your like domain name, and it's like an active Gmail account. Once you do that, you can easily, you can freely have access to all of these tools. Okay, so let's create a new report. And then it's gonna ask what's your connector, basically the data source, like where do you want to get your data from. Google Data Studio is not only a Google Analytic thing, but you can literally pull data from any source. Quote any source, but a lot of sources. So Google Analytics, the ads, the Google Sheets, the BigQuery, like if you have like even have like a CSV file, some other stuff, we're not gonna go through all of these guys, but you get the MySQL, which is like a database thing, Postgre, like another database stuff, and there are like some other like partner connectors. Anyway, the idea is like, yeah, you can pull data from any source you want, and then you can play with it and generate as many reports as you like. Okay, so for this webinar, let's do the Google Analytics. And then I manage different, this is just a demo, but maybe the screen for you will be a little bit different because you'll have like maybe one or two accounts. So I'm just gonna go to the one we've been working on. I'm gonna select that as my source. And then the next screen will be, the reports can be created. Okay, fine, add to the report. Okay, here we go. So as you can see, this is like blank, basic, no branding report. This is by the default thing. This is like the page view by Medium, like how many pages people like saw like in a period of time. I think it's the default one is 1 month from today. So in the last month, I think this is what this for. So we're just gonna delete this. We don't need it because we're gonna do everything from scratch. First thing I'm gonna add on the reports is like this toolbar where you can add stuff. I'm gonna add the kind of like the static ones that are easy. They don't need any connections. So let's add some text and do, this is our report, and this is literally drag and drop. Okay, let's put it here. This is our report, or like whatever you want to name it. Just put it here. Okay, good. And yeah, just got a question if we can like style this. Yes, of course we can, and I will talk about like the branding and everything else how as we go. So you can brand the whole page or layout of the whole, you can customize the theme from here, or you can do, if you click anywhere else other than any object, if we click on the new text we just added, then we can change some basic stuff here. Let's do this. Let's give it the color, that's the border, oops, that's the borders and colors. Let's do, I think this is that's the border color, that's the background color. Should be a color here somewhere if I can find it. Okay. Okay, it's too bold. Okay. So let's put this here. Great. Another thing I'm gonna add is another static one is if you want to add like an image, just like an basic image that you can upload. So let's just do it here, and we can upload an image. So see if we can add documents to desktop. second, see if I can find a good one very quickly. Okay, let's add this. This is our logo. Okay, so all of this so far, this doesn't require any data connection or anything from Google Analytics. Now, let's add the first one. The first chart we were looking at is we want to learn, one second, yes, the total number, like something like this, the total number of visitors with numbers on chart. So before I do that, I want to add something else. I want to I want to change the time, the date range for the report, because as I said, by default, it's like 1 month from today. So the first thing we're going to add is that. So let's add, there are two ways to add items to the report, either like from a chart here, or like you can just go and insert. And here we're going to go and see, not time series, date range. That's the one we want. Let's place it here. And the order range, as I said, by default it's 1 month, but just to match what we have on the report, let's do December 1st, just for the sake of this demo, but we can do whatever we want until February 1st. Fine. Okay, so this applies, this date range will be applied for all of the items or any objects or any chart or table we can add to the report. And it's dynamic, and once we change it, it will reflect on that. Okay, so that's number one. We can add some text here, like, I don't know, select your date range or something like that. So, but we don't have to do it for this report. Now let's add, we want to add the date. So let's add a chart here. Let's add a time series. Okay, let's place it here. Once again, what we want to get is the total number of visitors during this period. Okay, as you can see here, we have, once you select a table, a chart, or anything of this nature, you will have all of the attribute for that very specific object. So for this, the two most important things you need to remember or like work on is the dimension. This one, the dimension here, and dates and metric, I mean. So the dimension is like, what's your dimension? What do you wanna show? What do you wanna present? What do you wanna work on? For us, for this very specific object, we wanna have the date is our option. Like during this date, how many people came to our website? So the dimension is the date, and the metric will be people, like how many people. And for them, we don't want the page view. This shows you the number of page views during this period, which is different. What we want is the number of users. So, and Google use its own language for all of the fields you want to add. And for this one, we're just trying to be creative and do users. Let's see what we get here. Okay, so we have like one day. Okay, so user. Okay, users make sense. And more or less, that's exactly what we're looking for. Now, we can add, so, and we can change the metric as we like, but for this very specific demo, just like we want to know how many users during this period of time with a time series. I want to add two things now. I want to add some static text, and I will say insert text, kind of like title for this section, and I will call it, okay, let's call this, sorry, let's call this total number of visitors. Great, let's, I don't know, do some styling. Yeah, our body's fine. It's okay, it's kind of cool-ish. Okay. The second thing I want to add is the number. if you remember in Google Analytics, the one we have is, what is the number we had here? Give me 1 second. Just gonna open it very quickly to show you what I'm talking about. One second. Is it writing? Oh, websites. Okay. Audience overview. Let's see. So we said we want to do December 1st till February 1st. Okay. The number of users, this one, 738. Okay. To do that, we can come here, add to the chart, and here we see like the total. This gives you always like kind of like the total number of something. So we're just gonna add it here. Let's see which number we got. Once again, as you can, as I said earlier, it's always checks against the date time you have on the page. But this one is always by default, it gives you the page views. So this is the total number of page views that during this period. But what we need is the number of users. So this is a very special object. So it has only page views. It doesn't have the medium. So just like the chart, instead of doing page views, we want the users. And go to users, and it will reflect it automatically 17383. And that's exactly the same numbers we have here. Okay, this is one. The next thing we want to do is the traffic sources. We want to know how people are coming to our website, and that's, if we go back to the Google Analytics, that's under acquisition overview, which is basically this. We want something like this in our report. So we come back here. This one we can, I'm just going to do something very quickly. Let's change this to, this is ugly, yes. Okay, it's fine. Try to see if we just copy and paste so we have the same styling, and let's do traffic sources, because that's more or less what we are interested in. Add it here. For this one, let's add, we're not going to add a graph, we're going to add a table. Let's add the table here. Play with it a little bit. Once again, by default, it gives you the medium and the page views, but we don't want that. What we want is, we want where they are coming from. That's should be our medium. Our dimension is like how they are coming from, and then the metric will be the users, how many users. So that's a little bit not tricky. So we're just gonna add another dimension, and Google Analytics uses the word channel or acquisition channel. If you remember here under acquisition overview, it doesn't say like which channel, but here it's not really that clear. So it's under acquisition channels, which is exactly, they are using exactly the same thing. So we have referral, direct, organic, other, social, and email. But maybe what we want, we don't want the page views per acquisition, we want the number of users. So for that, we're just going to change the metric again and add users. But we can add anything we like. Let's add users. Okay, I screwed up something. What did I screw up? Okay. Is it acquisition channel? Yeah. Should be channel. Unless there are two. Yes, I think there's two. Chart field, default. No, it gotta be one of these. Okay. The dimension is, okay, users is there. Yes, that's the number of users. That's good. And channel. should be this one. No. I think they just changed the naming recently. Give me 1 second. User registers wasn't properly here. Okay. Add another dimension. Should be channel. Pretty sure it's channel. Yeah, I think it just changes. It used to be like channel, now like it's default channel grouping for some reason. Anyway, I need to review this later on because that's news to me. Okay. And as you can see, you can adjust like the layout as you see. Okay. Let me see if you can. Yeah. Okay. We can change this a little bit with some styling. Table border, table label, table body. Let's do change some stuff. I'm gonna talk about styling like later on, but just while we are at this, I'm just gonna do it. So styling, all kind of style, table border. Let's change this to let's do this. Let's do blue. Okay. And text maybe white or something. Okay, but we got the gist. Okay, so here we go. So we can now get traffic stuff like that. One thing while we are at this, we can sort. So by page views, we don't have page views. Sort by. There is no. Yep. We can like ascending or descending based on what we're looking for. But let's do descending. So this is one. Okay. Next thing we want to work on is, but you get like kind of like how you pull data from the Google and it can just like pull in the report. So I'm just gonna add like different components so you get used to it. Another thing, let's do the pie just to show this like in a pie in a graph mode. For them, let's add a pie. So right here. And we're gonna use exactly the same metrics as we used for this one. So the dimension is channel, the default channel grouping, and we're gonna do users. Okay, and this is just more or less a graphic presentation of the same thing. Okay. Now let's add another one. Keep working on our graph, on our reports. Let's add the cities. Like we want to have traffic source. We want to have the Dalton. Let's do by city. Okay. For that, we're gonna add a table to the chart. Let's add a table. Once again, the default one is page per view. We don't want that. What we want is, so the medium gonna be the city. Oh, the dimension gonna be the city. So the dimension, which city, and we can keep the page views or we can do users. And here we go. So we have all of our cities. Okay, this is the first time we've seen not set, and I personally not a big fan of not set. I don't want to show it on reports because it doesn't give you any I don't know, I just like that not set metric is not I'm not a big fan of. So one way to get rid of that in your report is add something called filters. So, and you can do that for any object you're working on, any table or chart or anything. So let's go to this one, scroll down to filter, Okay, let's add a filter. Let's add a filter. So what we want is, before we go here, what we want, like any city with the name not set, do not show. That's kind of like the logic. Let's go back here, add a filter. And this is just to call it, I would say like exclude not set for city. Okay, and then the condition. What do you want to do? I want to exclude. What I want to exclude? I want to exclude city because that's the word we are. And equal, we can use equal, but I always use contains. And then I'm just going to add the value not set. And then I'll save. And that should take care of not set. So not set just disappeared right now. Another thing we can do, yeah. While I'm here, I want to try something with the layout. So I'm just going to click here, layout. I'm going to try to change theme, customize. I'm going to change the color of some stuff. So accent, data style, let's do, okay. Yeah. Positive, negative. One thing I just learned like recently is this. I think it's really cool. Is it under layout? Let me see. No, I think it's under theme and oh, extract from image. This, if you go to theme and click on extract from image, upload by computer. So I'm just gonna do this one. So what I did is I will extract kind of the styling for the whole page from an image. I just use the logo. So if you have like the logo of your organization, you can do this. They will save you time. It will just like publish. I just discovered this like recently. So to give you some options, just gonna pick this one out because it's kind of cool. Not really. Didn't apply on that. So, or customize. I'll pick maybe another one. But you get like the idea. Let's use, okay, back here. Extract from image. Let's pick this one again, and let's use this one this time, see how it looks. Okay, it's a little better. Yeah, this one, because we kind of like override it, so it didn't take it, but moving forward, all of the text will be, all of the tables will be something like this, which I believe it's kind of cool. We should have done this from the beginning, but here we go. I just learned about this recently, actually. Okay, save time, dun, 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 dun. Now, let's create other stuff. We want to do the mobile decisions by device. Let's add one. Just going to add some texts. And we can just copy and paste, actually, you know. Just delete this one. Yeah, this is literally drag and drop and kind of like on the fly editing, so okay. For that, let's do so we did this by, let's do something else. We're not gonna do by like this. We're gonna add another one. Let's add this one. Okay. And here we go. So, oh gosh. So here we go. It's exactly, okay, sessions by device. Did I do it right? No, this is not, because, okay, let's do the medium. Once again, it's like the default, it gives you the medium and other stuff, but let's do, for this one, device category. Okay, so we want by device. So let's see if we can find anything that says device, which it should. All right, device category, device info. Let's do the device category because I believe that's what it is. Okay, and then page views, or we can do session. Yeah. Or we can even do users, actually. So do users, so we just have to change the sessions. like users by device instead of sessions by device. Okay, here we go. This is done. Top 10 pages. We can do this. Let's see if we can have Control C. Let's do top 10 pages. Let's add a table. Okay, we want pages. Okay, so for this one, no, let's add a metric. So top 10 pages, let's do by page view, if we can find page view. Because that's what we're looking for, chart field, okay, page views. They should do it. Okay, there we go. So this gives us, we said top 10, but we only have 8. This is very easy to fix. We can scroll down, and here we go. And we have this, okay. So now we kind of, we can work on the styling, of course, or we can use one of the predefined themes here. One thing, this is not bad, or this a little bit more too extreme. Let's go back to default, or the one, or this one we selected. Now, let's say like you're done with your report and you just want to share this. This is like the beauty of Google Data Studio. So just like, since it's like a Google product, just like all of the other Google products you are familiar with, like Google Doc and Google, spreadsheet, the Google Sheet and that kind of stuff, you can share the sharing tools, the sharing tool or way to do it is very similar. So you can invite other people. So you can send an email to someone and you can give them access to view or edit or stuff like that. Or you can create a report, get a report link. So change report setting. Okay, let's change this and do manage access. Only now we're gonna make it anyone on the internet or anyone on the internet can find and edit, and you can find and view. And from changing it, you can work on other stuff. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna copy this, save, okay, copy, close. Now I'm just gonna open a new private window, incognito mode, because the reason I'm doing this, so I'm not like logged in a Google with a Gmail account. Let's paste this. The beauty of it, even people with no Gmail account can access your report, and so you can do this, and also it's interactive, so you can see, since it's like a web page of a sort, so it's interactive. You can see some stuff. They can play in the cities like the next ones. And one of the best features of this, in my opinion, is you can change the date range, which is amazing. Like this you can do otherwise with, like, let's say you generate, like, you remember the PDF we generated earlier, you cannot like change the dates there because it's kind of like, that's like, okay, because it makes sense, it's just like a PDF. But for this one, we're just gonna do January 2020, and that will reflect all of the work we did, and the chart and tables will reflect that time date range, which is beautiful. And from here, yeah, people can, okay, you can invite other people if they want, but they can print it and do whatever they want to do with it. Or I don't see why you want to print it. Just like, let's save some paper. As you can, this is more interactive than a piece of paper. Okay, so there is this. Yeah, the styling doesn't look exactly like the beautiful one I showed you earlier, but with just a little bit of work, you can make it look beautiful. So, oh, another before I forget, very nice feature you can do. So if you generate reports like this and you want to send them to people like on a regular basis, instead of like sending them one by one, you can schedule email delivery. So you can send, because this is something that it's like an ongoing thing. Like every day you have like new users and new reports, or every week or every month, whatever, like the whatever you want to work on. So you can just schedule that like on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, or just like very specific. So Gmail or Google Data Studio will send them an email with the report. Another thing I'll mention, so this is I set the default range, but we can make it we can do, last 7 days or something, and it's always, or last 28 days. It's always, whenever you apply that, it will be like automatic of the last 28 days. Or you can use whatever other stuff this week, all good options right here. Okay, so that's more or less the intro session about using Google Data Studio to generate some reports that you can share from your Google Analytics. I did not go in detail of like Google Analytics and the metrics you need to check and all of that kind of stuff. That may be like another session. But this is just the first one. Okay, I think that's it. Let's see if I have any questions. Let's see if I forget anything for this session. We worked on some stuff. Yeah, I will just add one thing. The map, it's not on the original report, but I'm just gonna add it and see how it looks. Let's add, I'm sorry, I just deleted that. Let's add a geomap here. So we see like a map, which is another cool stuff. Okay, let's do the city, all the cities of America. And let's do, we can do users, or we can, yeah, let's do users, why not? There we go. So that's another thing. Oh, so this is another like cool like interactive map about like your users, where they are and stuff like that. So this is useful. Another thing I want to show you is, if your report gets like too busy, then you have the option to create pages. Here on the top, there's, you add another page. So we are in page 2 of 2. If we go back, page 1, we have the stuff. So for instance, we can like, I don't know, Control C, and just go to page 2 and have this map and play with it a little bit, make it a little bit bigger because of our beautiful country right here. And then yes, and if we share it, I think I still have, no, I don't save view. Let's do get report link, copy link. Let's open it again and see how it looks. Okay, so you see page 2 of 2, go back page 1, get all of our data. Page 2, you have the other stuff. Okay. All right, and you see, as I said, it's the beauty thing is like interactive. So you can see like Nashville and like other people, like, yeah, sometimes it's a little bit scary, but this is the world we live in. Okay, I think that's all I have for this session. So we did the demo. Yeah, once again, this is my email address, osad@inditechsolutions.com, and the website inditechsolutions.com. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions that I couldn't answer. I tried to answer as many questions while I was doing this training. If you have any questions, please let me know. We do work with a lot of WordPress, so that's another thing I didn't mention. So if you have any questions about WordPress, and I believe the next couple of sessions will focus on that, so anything related to WordPress, we are a WordPress agency. If you have any questions about any WordPress website you're working on, or partner or something, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will see you soon. Thank you.